Vernomatic Productions.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team.
It's getting nice and heavy.
Now, welcome our hosts, John the Vernomatic Verno, and direct from New Jersey, Metal Walt.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's enjoying Rocktober as much as Metal Walt and I are. Continues tonight as we're bringing you a double episode. We're joined by Adam Wakeman, keyboardist extraordinaire who has played alongside Ozzy, Black Sabbath, Uriah Heep, Deep Purple. He's also the son of the great Rick Wakeman. Well, we got an exclusive look at the inner workings of the recent Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony and the Ozzy Osbourne induction. Adam shares his experiences performing at the Ozzy's ceremony, details behind the all-star band, which included Zakk Wylde, Robert Trujillo, Billy Idol, Wolfgang Van Halen, and many others. He shares with us how an event like this gets put together, reflects on the three-song performance, and Adam also reveals all behind-the-scene moments that took place at the iconic event and how Oz was doing. You know, he looked good, but sometimes, you know, the appearances may deceive you. Well, that's coming up, but part two, we got a really, really awesome one as Metal Walt and I share our behind-the-scenes look of an unforgettable day this past Monday in New York City. We were down there for the Alex Van Halen book signing. We share our experiences meeting the legendary drummer, the 2 to 3 hour time waiting in line, meeting fans from around the world. It was really like a Van Halen communal event. It was great. There's even a video version of this on our YouTube channel with pics and videos. So you could go over to Metal Mayhem ROC on YouTube and check that out. But before we get into all this, we want to remind you to get up to metalmayhemroc.com. Check out the website, check out the merch page. There's hoodies up there, there's winter hats, there's killer Halloween shirts, there's a lot of goodies. And do us a favor, sign up for the newsletter to stay updated on new episodes. And if you missed any recent episodes, let's see, last week we had Sam Spade from the Midnight Devils. Before that, Blitz and Jarvis from Overkill and Night Demon talking about the King Diamond Tour. And at the beginning of the month, we had a kick-ass Eddie Van Halen 4-year death anniversary special, and Jesse Finks, the AC/DC author, with his book, Bond Notes from the Highway. So again, that's metalmayhemroc.com. Subscribe to the pod, leave a review, and we really appreciate that. If we get any of these, which we do sometimes, we'll read them on the air. All right, let's get into this. Rocktober celebration continues. Adam Wakeman and behind the scenes of the Ozzy Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and Metal Walt and Vernomatic's experience at the Alex Van Halen book signing. All that right here, right now on Metal Mayhem ROC.
So today I'm joined by keyboardist extraordinaire Adam Wakeman, a member of the all-star band that performed to celebrate the induction of Ozzy Osbourne as a solo artist into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Listen, I was curious. You're back from L.A. and, back to the UK so quickly after only a couple of days. But just curious, I know you have back history with Ozzy as well as the Sabbath guys. You toured with them before, but how did you actually get called to get invited to be in this house band?
The thing is I just haven't been fired yet in 20 years. I think that's how I'm still here. I make a good cup of tea. I think that's how I remain employed. It was I guess Sharon and Ozzy's idea when they were coming up with what to do to make it kind of a special event, and I guess myself and Zakk were thought would be good, good people to have there, along with some other guests, and it was a great night. I mean, it really was. We did a few days rehearsals over in LA, and then we flew to Cleveland to do the actual show.
So because that was going to be one of my questions. who actually puts the bands together? Like, is it the Grammy camp of sorts, or is it the Sharon Ozzy camp? Because I got to be honest, as sort of a journalist of sorts, I kind of have a little bit of a mixed reviews of some of the artists that performed. But who was it actually, like the Sharon and Ozzy camp that put the lineup together?
Do you know what? I would assume so, because they tend to make the decisions of what they do, and Ozzy will have obviously a big say in what he's doing. But I assume so. I mean, I don't actually know, to be honest. All I know is I was very happy to be there.
Yeah, because it's it's funny because obviously Andrew Watt has super uber producer of everybody under the sun, and Ozzy's kind of sidekick for the last two albums with Chad Smith on there as well. But it almost came across to me like it was a little bit more Hollywood-esque in a sense and a little less metal-esque. Again, nothing against Jack Black. I know, he's got his metal roots and he was tight with Ronnie James Dio and the Tenacious D thing. But I think a lot of traditional metal fans would have preferred to see somebody like a Rob Halford or Bruce Dickinson, or maybe even somebody like James or Lars from Metallica up there inducting them. But then again, both Priest and Maiden are on tour. But I listen, it's all good. I think I would have liked to seen Zakk up there just a little bit more, shredding, but it was definitely cool. But how was it like, let's say, performing with Billy Idol? Because again, that one came a bit of a surprise, on No More Tears. I mean, again, I love Billy for what he's worth, but I don't know if it necessarily, the song fit Billy and Billy fit the song. But how was it performing with Billy?
This is a classic example of you can't please everybody any of the time. There's always going to be saying, why the hell was that bloke doing it? Why was he not doing it? Why was he doing it? Why did they not mention this? Why did they mention that? It's for the 20 years that I've been around, there's so many kind of conflicting opinions, and quite rightly, everyone's got an opinion on music and what have you. So, to a certain extent, you just have to sort of ignore that, really, because whatever's done is done with the right intentions and the right choice of who they think to use. So what those reasons are, I don't know, but there would have been very specific choices for those people. It wouldn't have been like, just a random name out of a hat, Billy Idol, let's get Billy Idol in. So, they've been friends for a long time, as with Steve Stevens. So there is a strong connection between all those people, which is, it's just interesting. It might be, I'll tell you, if Lars was there and James from Metallica, there'd be a whole bunch of people just saying, why are they doing it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you can't actually... but for me personally, Billy Idol was, I've not met him before. Obviously I know his kind of, his music, but he was really nice, came across really, really well. And it's not an easy song to sing, No More Tears. I don't think there's that many people that can get up there, but he was great. I thought he was great. And it's difficult. You're only there for 7 minutes and there were 3 singers in 7 minutes. It's like, there's no real, time to get in your stride. It's like, it's TV, go, It's pretty full on, but it was a really good fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, I will tell you that, seeing Wolfgang Van Halen, do the solo during Crazy Train, he's an amazing player. I saw that you put something on your Instagram, a photo with him. Ironically, yesterday, his uncle, Alex Van Halen, premiered his book, and I was actually took a day off of work, went to New York City to the Barnes & Noble, and he did his first book signing for his new book. So tell me about your interaction with Wolfgang.
Right, it's weird because I kind of have a sort of I had a strange draw to him because obviously he's the son of a very famous guitar player and I'm the son of the famous keyboard player. So it's a bit like when I've got 3 kids and the youngest kids are twins, 15-year-old twins, boy and girl. And when they were babies, you walk around in this kind of zombie-like state of just no sleep, all the normal parenting things. When you see another parent that has twins, you feel a draw to them. There's like, it's not twice as hard. It's 4 times as hard with twins. Anybody listening to this that's got twins will know exactly what I mean.
Yep.
It's kind of weird. You get this kind of weird draw to other twin parents. And I kind of felt a little bit like that with Wolfgang. He was very, very nice, very humble, very, I've seen a lot of people putting negative things online. I'm now just not even bothering to go anywhere near X or Twitter because it is just full of people slagging people off, especially when it comes to music. I'm done with that. Enjoy the good things. Enjoy the brilliant people that are involved in music. And if you don't like it, just don't listen to it.
That's exactly right. Well, I don't have twins, Adam, but I do have 4 kids, and I think our kids are probably in the same age bracket, teenagers, 20 down to 10 and that kind of thing. So I do get the challenges of being a parent. So I'm with you, buddy. But maybe, hey, listen, the most important question was Ozzy himself. I mean, he looked great up there. He was dressed out. He had his jacket on up on the throne. But for you, I mean, how was he? How was he before the show, the couple of days before the show? Did you interact with him? And what was he like, let's say, hanging around the halls of the arena?
I mean, he's been, he's in a brilliant place, sort of, mentally talking. We met up in June as well. I was over in LA for a couple of weeks. So I spent 2 or 3 hours with him then. And what's really noticeable, I think, is because there's always so much going on in the Osbourne camp. They're so busy. They never stop working, But because Ozzy's not on tour, he's got a bit more time to just, not be jumping on planes here and there and everywhere. I spent more time with him this month than I probably did on the entire last Ozzy tour.
Yes.
Which is, and we've chatted about loads of stuff and just things that there's not normally time to talk about because you're too busy, with the tour and TV and all the rest of it. So he's been brilliant and he's been great. Great conversation. I mean, it was very busy at that award do, as I'm sure you can imagine. It's like every 2 minutes there's more people coming in the dressing room to come and say hi to Ozzy and see how he's doing. So it was very busy. But I did get I got a lot of time. I went to see him in the morning in Sharon before we left. I came back to England and they went back to LA, and he was on great form. He's in a great place.
Yeah, because I mean, again, you do have the back history with them, touring both with Ozzy and, of course, with the Sabbath years, too. But we were talking the other day, I think the last time Ozzy performed before the other night was I think it was the British Commonwealth Games, and you played bass guitar, right?
I think Geezer had COVID. So they asked me if I'd do it, and obviously, jumped at the chance. It was great.
And that was, watching it in the U.S., I'm in the New York, New Jersey area, but seeing on the TV, my God, 40, 50, 100,000 people just in that whole area. I mean, it was just so cool. And it's a testament to you, Adam, as a skilled musician that you can just jump in and, put down your keyboards and your piano and move over, not to a regular guitar, to a bass guitar, right?
Well, the funny thing is when I first started doing the Sabbath stuff, which was 2004, I was playing keyboards, and then I think I did a bit of rhythm guitar on Paranoid, and that was sort of it. And as it progressed over the years, Tony just kept saying, well, do you want to just play more guitar? Because there weren't any keyboards in that one originally. And I'll do whatever makes sense for the piece of music or show, whatever. And I ended up, by the last tour with Sabbath in 2016, was it? I think 17.
Yeah.
That was I was playing the entire show on rhythm guitar, and then I think 2 tracks with keyboards. So it was weird. It was kind of, I'm way happier and more comfortable behind a piano and keyboards, but as a second instrument, guitar, I love it. I'm just a frustrated guitar player. My friend actually calls me a guitar owner, not a guitar player, but
it was, I was going to ask you this question later on, but your predecessor during the Sabbath days was Jeff Nichols. He was a longtime friend of Tony Iommi, the late Jeff Nichols. He was great. He held Sabbath together with Tony through all the, let's say, those lean years, the years in the 90s, 80s, Headless Cross and Tear and others. But how actually did you get the call to join into Sabbath in those tours, and maybe just talk a little bit about touring under, with Sabbath all over the world for 13, and then of course the End tour. What was that like for you?
It was amazing. The whole experience. From what was interesting, starting in 2004, that was Bill Ward was playing then as well. So it was that was my first sort of outing was back then. And then over the years, obviously when Bill wasn't there and Tom Graffiti came in, it was absolutely awesome. And obviously had come from Ozzy's band. So there was a kind of familiarity there as well. I think the thing that I remember most about all those tours is that I got to spend a lot of valuable time with them individually, where, I don't know, often with bands, they do everything together and, or they don't do anything together at all. You never see anybody. Tony Iommi would love to walk, so he would walk every day. So a few days a week, I'd join him for a walk for a few hours and chat about music and just general stuff, which is great. Geezer again liked to walk. But that was normally sort of afternoon stuff. So you might get 2 walks in a day. You might do Tony in the morning and then go out with Geezer for a few hours in the afternoon and chat about, a completely different load of things. And then Ozzy would tend to be, I'd go and have a cup of tea with him in his room or meet him for dinner. And yeah, same with Tony as well. It was it was very social. And then, every now and again, everybody would get together. And it was, looking back on it, it was so mega. It was so epic. Both those tours, and even the earlier ones we were doing the Ozzfest, it was so, everywhere in the world, everybody loves it. Everybody loves something. There wasn't ever a disappointing show where, with a lot of bands, you go, it's a bit quiet tonight. It's like, there were no quiet nights. Everything was all sold out. It was massive everywhere. And I was just so privileged to have been a part of that.
Yeah, it was, again, Sabbath is a top 5 band for me. I was at all those New York and New Jersey shows. You probably remember them, the PNC Bank Art Center, the Sheds, of course, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. All great memories. And on all, of course, even before you may have been in the band when they were doing the Ozzfests, just with everybody under the sun, Priest, Maiden, and so many other bands. Well, Adam, this has been a great segment. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll have you back on the show soon. Thanks.
Never. Metal Mayhem ROC.
I'm Metalhead.
Metal Mayhem ROC is the home for metal from the very beginnings.
This is James DeBrett from Hellstar. You're listening to Burn-O-Matic.
Dave Overkill from the Cleveland band Destructor. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great.
To longtime headliners.
Hey, this is Red Beach from Whitesnake.
Hey, this is Vinny Appice from Dio, Black Sabbath, and Last in Line.
To music of today.
Hi, this is Olaf Wickstrand from Enforcer.
Hi, this is Braun from Mastodon.
You're listening to Metal Mayhem ROC.
With John the Burn-O-Matic Burner.
Plus, we talk with producers and authors to give you behind-the-scenes info.
Hi, this is William Irwin, author of The Meaning of Metallica, Ride the Lyrics.
Greg Renoff, the author of the book Van Halen Rising and the Ted Templeman book, A Platinum Producer's Life in Music.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team, giving you more to listen for. Join our community, and always remember to keep it heavy.
Well, Rocktober continues. And I just got back from New Jersey. Metal Walt and I spent the afternoon in New York City yesterday, 80 degrees. Alex Van Halen comes out of seclusion to give everyone his new book, Brothers, Alex Van Halen Memoirs. Metal Walt, what's going on, man? How's Tuesday for you?
Tuesday's been good. I'm still in a happy mood, a little tired, but a good tired. And I don't know, my Facebook account is blowing up with the images, and everybody's like, what? You saw Alex Van Halen? What the heck? Where? When? How? So it's been one of those kind of days.
We're going to quickly recap our day. A lot of waiting in line, a lot of bonding with fellow fans. And like I said, 80 degrees in New York. It was beautiful. And So when I got these tickets, it was a couple weeks ago when he announced these very rare appearances, one here in New York, one down in New Jersey, and then a virtual event in California. So I drove down from Rochester down to Jersey, and Metal Walt and I went yesterday. And well, why don't you explain exactly how we got in there and where we parked and all that?
Well, it reminded me of how, I don't know how people that commute into big cities every day from the suburbs do it, because it's exhausting. Hour and a half door to door, car, rush hour traffic, sun glare, parking, a half a mile walk to the train station, one train to the next, out of the train station, walk 10 blocks uptown, walk one avenue uptown, get in line. Where's the security guards? Where do you get wristbanded? It's exhausting. But like John said, it was 80 degrees and sunny. And I live in New Jersey, but if I had to pick which one to go to, I'd rather go to the Barnes and Noble in the heart of Manhattan. That's where the action is.
Now, I've been to New York a few times, but I was excited going to the Big Apple. And now Van Halen, my favorite band, and this is really a treat. Alex, he's been in seclusion, but for him to come here, and we weren't sure what was going to happen. Were you going to be able to really talk with him? Was it going to be hush hush? You know, the saying, be careful on meeting your idols because you may not dig it. But I'm telling you, Alex was totally cool. There's about 500 people there. We show up around 11:30, 11:15, lines going around the building. Couple times it snaked around. We had to get a wristband, and that's when the Van Halen communal started. And I got to give a shout out to two people that we met in line. Art DeVray and his daughter Alexis. Art's a retired police officer from Clark, New Jersey. And we met a lot of people, you know, everyone's sharing their Van Halen stories. And while the 3 hours we're in line, 2 to 3 hours that we're in line, it brought us back to the days when you would wait in line to buy tickets for concerts. And that was part of the excitement. People were all dressed up with their Van Halen stuff. Guys had homemade vests. There was people from all over the world. We ran into Mark Striegel from Sirius XM. We chatted him up. We just met tons of people, and it was awesome. It was a big shout out to Art and his daughter Alexis. And at one point, Walt even walked around, was shooting some B-roll video and just exploring because we had nothing else to do except wait in line. Well, what did you take out of this? Because, you know, you're a Van Halen fan, but you even admitted you're not the biggest fan. You even said to me at one point, it's like, God, you guys got granular talking about all this stuff. What was your take on the whole situation?
Listen, I would do just the same. I mean, listen, I've seen Van Halen in concert, I don't know, 5, 7, 10 times, but I don't go deep like you do. But I totally appreciate anybody that has that level of knowledge, has read all the books, watched all the bootlegs, seen all the shows. Anybody that could go Rain Man on Van Halen or any band, I'm into that because I can do it with a lot of bands. But you know what? The vibe was killer. As we got into Barnes and Noble, then like the nerves started kicking in. You're up the escalator, the AC's kicking in. And what I didn't expect, and I don't think you did either, was they were playing the first Van Halen album softly over the PA system, not blaring, but there's all kinds of people walking around. There's the normal kids eating, you know, pastries in the coffee shop, other people looking at kids' books and whatever, like oblivious that this is like one of the rock legends 5 feet away from them. But as it got closer, you know what? People started quieting down. And then it was like you saw the curtain with the big spotlights, and you're like, okay, he's right over there. We're 20 people away, 10 people away, 5 people away. Show your wristband, sir, and come with me. And in we went to Oz.
That's awesome because they had Alex behind a curtain. So we're like Walt was saying, we're like 10 people away, and the curtain came together, and then it would like sort of open up, and it's like, oh my God, I saw him. And as you got closer, finally the guard was like, all right, you two, come on in. So we're watching the people ahead of us getting their signatures and getting their time with Alex. And this is the best part of it all. Al was in such great spirits. He was just answering questions. And so I went first. And so I go up to him and I shake his hand, and I get a big smile out of him. You know how I am. I can get a smile out of out of anyone. And the question I asked him, because we always like, what are we going to ask him? And I went back to I saw the '82 Diver Down tour up at Syracuse, and they had celebrated David Lee Roth's birthday early. It was like on October 9th, and his birthday's October 10th. They brought out a big cake and smothered him, Dave, with it when they were singing Happy Trails at the end of the set. Alex came down from the drum set to sing Happy Birthday. And when he went running away, he slipped on the frosting and bopped his head. So I asked Alex hey, do you happen to recall that? He goes, I was at the show with Ted. I'm like, Ted? He's like, yeah, Ted Nugent. And I said, no, it wasn't with Ted. And he smiled. He gave me like a little hug and said, oh, man, it's a lot of years and a lot of miles and a lot of gigs. And so, but he was totally cool. I thanked him for, everything that he's done. And he was sincere. He was very sincere. Looked me in the eye, had a smile, and shook my hand twice. And I think if he had his way, I think he would have spent more time with everyone. So I went first, and then Walt was next. Walt, share your interaction with Al.
So I had to come up with something local or something unique. So my one Van Halen memory, which was maybe a frustrating memory, but still a memory, was on the Different Kind of Truth tour. They did a warm-up show at the Cafe Wa, a little 150, 200 dive bar in the heart of Greenwich Village in Manhattan. Now, for all deep knowledge Van Halen fans know that was run by David Lee Roth's uncle Manny. Manny Roth owned, it was a thriving place in the 50s and 60s and 70s. I guess Dave wanted to play there, and they put the show on. It was not for sale to the public, but I went down there anyway. And again, this is 10 years ago. But the problem was I tried all of my gimmicks to get in, and I was denied. But I sat on the street. They had the basement Biltmore doors open so that people could come in and out, and they was able to listen to the show from the street. It was only a 75-minute show. They were done with by 9:15, but it was one of those, I wish I was there, but I was still there kind of moment. So I brought it up to Alex, and I said, Alex, do you have a good recollection of the Cafe Wash show? And he said, yeah. He goes, that was probably the smallest show we ever did. It was the first thing we did for the new album at the time. He goes, yeah. He goes, that was a little place. And I said, yeah, unfortunately I didn't get in, but I heard it from the street. And this was the best part. He just said to me, John, he says, well, I hope we sounded good. Sorry that you had to listen to it from the street, which was totally cool. Mm-hmm. I had these photos where they were clicking away, and it's like, Al's moving this way. He's moving that way. His fist is up that way. He's over this way. He's shaking my hand. He's looking at me. You could tell that he was connected with me. So it was a cool way to have that experience. And yeah, glad we got a chance to do it.
And the cool thing was I was standing off to the side and next to the proctor, and the security was cool. And I'm like, so the Walt took his picture with Al, and I'm like, well, let's get another one. And I was able to slide in, and then we have a picture of Metal Walt, myself, and Al, and the security was cool. The Barnes and Noble people did a fantastic job. It was just a very, very, like I said, communal day. It was, and for $35 a ticket, my God, I would have paid $100. I would have, and then we get a book, and then he signed it. Alex right there, Alex Van Halen right in front of us. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I have to give it a 12. It was a great day. And the best part of it all was Metal Walt and I, we were together, but we weren't working. A lot of times when we get together and I go down to the New York, New Jersey area, we're either, going to a show or doing press but we are totally off the clock. And as always, my good friend, I stayed at the Franco compound, stayed an extra night because, I didn't drive back last night, drove back today. We got right back to the MMROC studios. We're putting this together, and it's just a great time.
So, John, I paraphrased it like this. It was 90 seconds of one-on-one time with a rock and roll legend. Was it worth a whole day off of work and 3 hours in line? Hell yeah.
Yeah. And we kept saying, man, we're catching a break. It was almost, it was picture perfect weather. Blue skies, 80 degrees. Now, there could have been wind. There could have been rain. It could have been a day where you got your first sprinkle of wet snow. But no, it was perfect. So just another example of these are the kind of things that we get out of doing what we do here at Metal Mayhem ROC. And we appreciate you folks coming along with us on this ride. And just get the book, get the audio book. I got the audio book. So as my ride from Jersey to Rochester, a 4-hour ride, I started listening to it. I'm almost done with it. So it's a good read. It's a good listen. Thank you, Alex Van Halen. We appreciate it. So, Walt, any parting shots?
I will leave you with a funny story. I was on a work call before with my boss, and it was like the telephone game. She got on a little early. She goes, is it true that you had Alex Van Halen on your podcast for an interview last night? And I laughed. I said, not exactly, but... And then I told her the story. She goes, oh, that's still cool. I said, we wish. Maybe we'll try somehow, but I don't think so.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.